Hello everyone, magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Let me present to you a review material on receivables consisting of 4 case problems and around 10 MCQ problems and also 10 MCQ theories. So that at least this will be able to cover some of the questions under receivables. Okay. Let us begin with case number 1. The question being asked is what amount should be reported as net amount of trade accounts receivable. Please take note, we are talking about trade receivables or trade accounts receivables. Now, dito sa makikita po ninyo, meron na tayo ditong mga sagot. May mga guide na po tayo dito so that it's more of a confirmation of our understanding na lamang. Okay, now, if the company provided you with the details of the control accounts receivable at year-end, consisting of the following items. So let us try to analyze and validate if tama ba itong mga pinaglalagay po natin dito. Pag sinabi po kasi natin na accounts receivable, these are your amounts owed by customers. Utang sa iyo ng mga customers mo because of the sale transaction, sale of goods or services, or those arising from the entity's normal course of activities. And any types of receivables na wala po dito sa number 1, they are considered as non-trade receivables. So for example, meron kang loans to officers and employees. So receivable from employees, non-trade po yan. Advances to affiliates, ito po yung mga related party transactions. Accrual ng mga interest and dividend is also a non-trade receivable. Deposits to guarantee performance. So meron tayong security deposit, for example, or payment to cover possible damages or losses. Considered po ito as part of your non-trade receivables. Yung ating mga subscription receivables, deposits with creditors, okay? For advance payment po ito for goods or services no na i-acquire. Claims for losses and damages, usually sa mga third party like insurance, no? Claims for tax refunds or rebates in the event na masyado pong malaki yung nabayaran compared doon sa computed. And then claims against common carriers for damage or lost goods. Actually, similar pala ito dito sa letter G. Claims for losses and damages. But for letter G, it may not be specific to common carriers na. But maybe kung meron tayong mga insurance companies. Okay? So yun po yung ating mga pinapasok as part of your non-trade receivables. Now, going back dito sa ating pinaka-case number 1. Una, advance payment to creditors on purchase orders. So meron tayong bibilhin, it can be supplies or inventories, pero binayaran natin in advance. Now, that will be considered as a non-trade account. Okay, 320. Next, yung advance to affiliated entities, mga related party transaction, it is a non-trade receivable, not part of your trade. Okay, how about this one? Customers' accounts reporting credit balance arising from sales returns for this amount, 410,000. Nagkaroon po tayo ng sales return, so lumiit supposedly yung ating accounts receivable, no? And then combining it with the other details, other components of your AR account, debits and credits. Unfortunately, your AR has now has a credit balance. Sabi natin, the normal balance of your receivable is a debit, pero dahil meron tayong credit, now we have a liability account. Okay? Interest receivable and bonds, this is in non-trade. But here, you have a trade accounts receivable, unassigned. So, pag unassigned, wala po itong hindi po natin ito ginagamit as a security or as a collateral. Wala po tayo ditong mga general assignment, including 44,000 worth of accounts known to be worthless. So yung gross amount ng iyong receivable na unassigned ay 1.5 million, but since ang tinatanong po sa atin dito ay net amount of trade receivables, so we'll have to deduct the 44,000 kasi kasama po siya dito sa 1.5. So as you can see in the suggested solution, 1.55 million minus 44,000. The subscription receivable, whether currently maturing or due within 12 months or the entity's normal operating cycle, no, definitely pag short term, yan po ay receivable, no. Munti ko nang masabi na pag long term, na pag long term kasi hindi po yan non-current asset, but it is considered as a contra equity account, or when the problem is silent, our assumption to the subscription receivable is a contra equity account. So etong 1,290,000, since due in 90 days, short term siya, receivable, but that is non-trade. Okay? Next, ito naman, assigned trade receivables, assigned trade accounts receivable. Ignore natin kung ano man yung effect nitong itong credit company's equity in assigned accounts. So 100 man yan, or I guess that should be 1 million. Okay, gawin na lang natin itong 1 million para naman mas makatotohanan. Okay, so if yung inassign mo na receivable ay 1,360,000, pinasobrahan lang natin, pero kung meron kang inutang at inassign mo ito, no, na ang halaga ng yung equity, yung utang natin doon sa credit company is 1 million. So pag merong nakolekta, since i-assign natin ito, the collection is specifically intended for the payment of the equity. Okay? But ang i-include po natin as part of your receivable ay yung 1,360,000. Next, claims from a logistic company for damaged goods. Ito po ay considered natin as non-trade. Lagyan lang natin dito ng additional note para kumpleto yung ating mga reminders. Okay, accounts receivable from officers due currently. Okay, this is a non-trade receivable kasi from officers. So loans or receivables from employees or officers, non-trade. And dito naman, trade accounts on which post-dated checks are held and no entries were made on receipt of checks. So receivable pa rin yan. Nagkataon lang na meron ng in-advance na payment, pero yung payment kasi ay post-dated check. So yung post-dated check natin is still considered as part of your receivable. So 1.5 minus 44,000 plus 1,360,000, okay, plus 115,000. Pa-double check na lamang if the correct answer is 2,931,000. Okay? So that is your answer to the first case problem, case number 1. Ang sagot po natin, final answer natin dito ay 2,931 pesos. Okay? Moving on, let us proceed sa case number 2. Dito naman sa case number 2, we were provided with debits and credits of your accounts receivable. Medyo masyado lang madami, no? Kaya nakahiwalay yung debits and credits. Pero one thing that you can also do is to create a huge T account. Nasa kaliwa itong mga to, at yung mga credits naman ay nasa kanan. Now, if you will see, color-coded na po ito kasi for case number 2, meron tayong tatlong questions na hinahanap. Yung una, what amount should be reported as accounts receivable? Okay, pangalawa naman, accounts receivable lamang po ito. Pangalawa naman, trade and other receivables. And pangatlo, what total amount of other receivables should be recorded under your non-current assets. Okay? So, tignan po natin kung ano ang mga sagot at bakit sila ganoon. So for the first question, yung mga nakadilaw, ang tinatanong is magkano yung accounts receivable. Now, the January 1 balance after deducting a credit balance na. So we assume that this is definitely this is your accounts receivable, pero after deducting a credit balance. Now, please take note, if your AR has a credit balance, nagkakaroon tayo ng liability doon. Kasi napasobra yung ating AR, it should not be an abnormal account na negative. So there should be a liability portion. So i-gross up natin yung 425, ibalik mo yung 25, kaya meron ka dyang 450,000. Okay, ano tong 30,000? It should be 25,000. The 25,000 accounts receivable credit balance is a liability not to be offset. So kailangan nating idagdag. Okay, we have charge sales. Pag sinabi nating charge sales, these are credit sales. So idagdag po natin yung 3,150,000. Etong charge for goods out on consignment. Out on consignment pa lamang po ito, wala pang valid sales. So ignore po natin ito kasi inventoriable cost pa lang ito. Wala pa tayong sales and receivables dyan. Shareholder subscription. Okay, ignore po natin yan. Alright. Sige, mayroon tayong reservation dito mamaya for correction. Ano? Accounts written off but recovered. Okay? Pag meron tayong ni-write off na accounts, di ba? Anong journal entry natin? We debit the allowance for doubtful accounts and we credit your accounts receivable. Pero dahil meron kang recovery, i-reverse natin yon, dadagdag natin debit accounts receivable and credit allowance for doubtful accounts. So, ina-add back natin ito sa receivable. Okay? We ignore this 25,000 na total. This has something to do with your 25,000 dito. Cash paid to customer, goods shipped to cover. So, ignore lamang po natin ito, no? Since ito naman, gino-gross up natin, di ba? Okay, this is for the credit balance and this is a liability. Okay, deposit, wala. Deposit on long-term contract, that is not your accounts receivable. Claims against common carriers, that is not an accounts receivable. Advances to supplier, this is not an accounts receivable. Kasi for question number 1, ang tinatanong, to be reported as AR. Okay. So, ang total natin ay, for total debits ay 3,610,000. Next. Meron kang collection from customers including overpayment. Okay, nag-overpayment ka naman dito. So, kung mayroon tayong overpayment, yung overpayment is not to be confused with your accounts receivable kasi yung overpayment ng customer ay ibabalik natin. So, that should not be part of your accounts receivable. Okay, nagkakaroon tayo doon ng accounts ng liability account, no, accounts payable. So, yung 1,750, ibawas po natin yung overpayment. So, that should only be 1.7 million. Okay. So, minus natin yung 1.7. Write-off. Sabi natin, pag nag-write-off po tayo, debit, allowance for doubtful accounts, credit, accounts receivable. So, minus. Merchandise returns. Pag meron tayong mga sales returns na debit, i-debit natin yung sales returns and allowance account, and then credit po natin yung accounts receivable. So, ima-minus natin yung 12. Allowance for customers for shipping damages. Okay, yung 8,000, ibabawas din po natin. Kasi in this case, meron tayong sales returns and allowances. Usually, we combine the sales returns and allowances account. So, kung meron tayong sales allowance, no, it will have to reduce the AR account. Okay? So, yung sumunod, collection on carrier claim, that is non-trade, that is not part of your AR, and also the collection on subscription. Okay? So, in this case, ayan, what amount should be reported Pag pinagsama-sama po natin itong mga nakadilaw, after considering yung mga may deduction tayo na 25 at 50 dito, your answer for question number 1 is 1,865,000 pesos. Okay? Next. Ang question number 2 naman is, what total amount of trade and other receivables should be reported under current assets? So, isama na po natin itong 1,865 kasi yan po yung ating accounts receivable at isama po natin yung mga naka-color green. Etong claims against common carriers mo, idagdag natin yung 230 at saka etong advances to supplier, idagdag na rin po natin yan na 285. At dahil meron ka ditong collection na 80,000 on carrier claim, so minus 80, ang sagot po natin sa second question ay 2,300,000 pesos. Okay? So, that's for your question number 2. Sumunod naman po. O ito yung meron akong konting reservation sa makikita po ninyo. The good thing is we can update, we can correct kung ano man yung may mga na-miss out tayo ng mga computations, ano? Kasi yung question number 3, what total amount of other receivables should be reported under non-current assets? Now, if you see here, yung shareholder subscription ay isinama. Hindi po kasi dapat natin ito isinasama because when the problem is silent, this should not be a non-current asset. So, lagyan ko dito, if silent, non-current, but not part of your non-current asset, but part of your shareholders' equity as a contra equity account. If silent, non-current, but contra equity. Okay, so hindi dapat natin isasama yung 400,000 dito sa ating solusyon. So remove po natin yung 400,000 dito. Ang isasama lamang po dapat natin ay itong deposit on long-term contract kasi nakalagay long-term. Okay, and then, eto, yung collection and subscription, i-ignore din po natin ito kasi contra equity account yan. So, lagyan ko na lang din dito ng note na reduction to the contra equity account. Okay, reduction to the contra equity account. So, the final answer for question number, question number 3 is only 700,000 pesos. Okay? So, for number 3, ito po ang ating tamang sagot. Bakit nawala yung mga kulay natin dito? Okay, so 700,000 only. All right, so let us save this case number 2 for the correction. Okay, we are done with case number 2. Let us now move on with case number 3. Okay, for case number 3, meron din tayong tatlong questions dito. What should be the amount to be reported as allowance for sales discount for Q1? For Q2, what amount should be reported as allowance for doubtful accounts? And for number 3, what is the amortized value of your AR at year-end? Okay. Meron ditong naka-highlight para mas ma-emphasize po agad ito. In recording for your discounts, ang gamit po natin ay gross method. Okay. The company sells to wholesalers on terms 3/15 and over 30. Wala daw cash sales ang company, pero 50% of the customers took advantage of the discount. If the company is using the gross method, okay, and meron ka ditong aging of receivable, ang 0 to 15 days mo, 3 million yan, 100% collectible. 16 to 30 days, 96% collectible. 31 to 60 days, 92% collectible. Samantalang yung mga over 60 days ay 85% collectible. Now, pag pinagsama-sama po natin yung ating mga AR, that is a total of 5 million pesos. Now, what amount daw should be reported as allowance for doubtful accounts? Class, Okay, sorry, allowance for sales discount. No, hindi allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay, ba po yun, ano? Dito, we are considering the allowance for the sales discount. Okay. Tignan po ninyo ito, no? 3 million, 0 to 15 days. So if the customer is given a credit term of 3/15 and over 30 and half of the customer usually avails it. So 3 million, okay? Pag in-apply natin yan sa lahat, yung 3%, so magkano yan? 3 million times 3%, that is 90,000. Pero kalahati lang kasi yung nag-avail. So kung meron tayong allowance for sales discount divided by 2, so the answer is 45,000 for this question. Okay? So ito po yung sagot natin for question number 1. O kaya naman, you have the 3 million. So magiging 1.5 yan times 3%. So that is also an alternative solution. Okay, o lagyan natin ng alternative solution dito. Alternatively, okay, 3 million times 50%. Which is inuna lang natin yung 50% bago natin i-multiply ng 3%. Pero parehas lang naman ang kalalabasan dapat dyan. Okay, so that is your answer to question number 1. Now, question number 2. What amount should be reported as allowance for doubtful accounts at year end? So kung allowance for doubtful accounts naman yan, we have to consider your aging of receivable. At based on an aging of receivable, the ending balance that will be computed here is your required allowance. Okay, definitely for 0 to 15 days, wala po tayo ditong uncollectible account kasi nga 100% collectible. However, for the 1 billion, we should consider a 4% uncollectibility. So 4% of 1 million is 40,000. Okay, next. 8% naman of those 31 to 60 days yung age ng AR ay maaring hindi makokolekta. So meron tayong 8% uncollectibility dyan. I-multiply mo yan doon sa 600,000, edi that is 48,000 naman. Okay, pagdating naman dito sa over 60 days, 15% yung hindi makokolekta, ina-expect natin na hindi makokolekta, times 400,000, that is 60,000. So pag pinagsama-sama natin yung 40 at saka yung 48 at saka etong 60, yung total natin dyan ay 148,000 pesos. Okay? So that is the answer to question number 2. Pagdating naman po sa question number 3, what is the amortized value of accounts receivable at year end? Amortized value, okay, that is your net realizable value, recoverable amount. Siyempre, yung receivable mo naka-gross, pero dahil meron kang allowance for sales discount, meron kang allowance for anong tawag natin dito, doubtful accounts, di bawas natin yung na-compute natin na 45 at saka yung 148. So, pag naibawas natin yan, okay, ito yung kakalabasan, 4,807,000 pesos. That is your amortized cost. Okay? So, that is your case number 3. Moving on. Proceed naman tayo sa case number 4. Sa case number 4, meron tayong tatlo na tinatanong. Kulayan lang muna natin itong solution. Ang tinatanong for question number 1 is the amount of interest income na i-recognize sa P&L in 2024. Yung pangalawa, carrying value ng note on December 31, 2024. While yung number 3 naman for 2024, magkano yung i-classify as current asset at magkano naman yung non-current asset section. Okay. If the entity sells a land na historically is measured at 2.8 million In exchange for that, okay, nakatanggap yung company ng 3-year non-interest bearing note sa halagang 4.5 million. So pag sinabi nating non-interest bearing yung note, implicit yung interest. So we will have to compute for the present value. Wala daw readily available. Okay? Fair value for the land. So we'll really have to compute the present value. But the interest rate to use is those in the market for similar instruments. And that is 8%. Okay? The note is payable in equal annual installment of 1.5 million every December 31 starting December 31, 2024. Now, for proper just to agree with our computation, gamitin po natin yung PVF, present value factor, using 4 decimal places. Okay, so this is a case of ordinary annuity. Kasi yung payment yung payment ng customer or yung collection natin ay mangyayari at the end of each period. Kung 3 taon ito, anong sabi natin? Sa basic calculator, kung 8% yan, 1.08 divide. Since 3 periods ito, 3 equal sign. 1, 2, 3. Kung ang na-compute natin dyan ay single payment, minus 1 divided by 0.08. Okay? Yung present value factor na magagamit na makukompute po natin ay 2.577096 rounded off to 4 decimal places. Ito po ang present value factor, ordinary annuity, 8% and is 3. Multiply natin ngayon yan doon sa 1.5 million. Ito po yung kakalabasan na present value. This is the initial carrying amount of your receivable. 3,865,650. Pag siyempre, binawas natin yan doon sa 4,500,000. Meron tayong 634,000 mahigit na discount on notes receivable that will have to amortize over the 3-year period using that effective rate. Okay? Now, since ang tinatanong for question number 1, what is the amount of interest income to be recognized in 2024? Multiply natin ang 8%, so that is 309,252. Or kung gusto po ninyo, at marami kayong time, syempre, gagawa kayo ng amortization table. Kung ito yung initial recognition mo on January 1, tapos December 31, we'll have to compute for the interest income. Kasi debit, interest receivable, credit, interest income or interest revenue. Ito. 309,252. Okay? Or sorry, hindi pala interest receivable, no. Debit discount on notes receivable. Okay? So yan po for our first question. Second question, carrying amount ng note on December 31. Okay? Di syempre, ito. Meron kang 1.5, may principal repayment ka, but the principal repayment will apply to both the interest and syempre reduction to the carrying amount of your receivable. So 1.5 minus 309,252, ang applied to principal from the payment ay 1,197,408. Ibawas natin yan dito sa carrying amount. Okay? So ito yung ating carrying amount or the present value or the carrying value or the book value of your note on December 31, 2024. Okay? Ang sumunod na tanong, ano daw yung i-classify natin as current asset and non-current asset on that same year? So when you do the table of amortization, yung sumunod sa ibaba, that will provide you with the answer to the question number 3. Pag gumawa ka ng amortization, ang applied to principal mo kasi dyan ay 1286008. Yan yung i-expect mo na makukolekta syempre from the 1.5 billion. Okay? Syempre, ito yung amortization mo ng discount. Ito yung applied to principal. That is your 1.5 billion. Diba? So, ito yung current portion ng iyong note receivable. And then, Ito, merong kang 1388894 or ito yon. That is the non-current portion ng iyong receivable. Kasi as of December 31, 2024, makokolekta mo pa lang yan ng 2 years, the next 2 years pa. Okay? Or 2 years from now. So that is the non-current asset portion ng iyong notes receivable. So yan naman ang sagot po natin dito sa case number 4. Okay. We are done with case problems. Dako na po tayo sa mga MCQ problems, no? Beginning with, okay, question number 1. Ang tinatanong sa question number 1, what amount should be reported as trade and other receivables under current asset section? Okay? Tignan po natin ito, no? Isa-isahin natin. You know, sometimes, pagdating sa mga receivables, no, may mga items na maaaring hindi lang natin nasasakop yung receivables, kung hindi, pati yung inventory inclusion exclusions ay nakukonsider na rin natin. Okay? Unang item, trade accounts receivable, definitely 825 yan. Dagdag. Meron kang ECL provision under IFRS 9. Ano? Yung mga pinakita natin noong mga una sa case problems na allowance for doubtful accounts, yan yung ating mga generic term na pang basic accounting. Pero applying the IFRS 9, pag nag-level up po tayo, yung doubtful accounts expense mo or yung bad debt expense, that is your impairment loss. Okay? Tapos yung allowance for doubtful accounts, yun po yung ating provision for expected credit loss. Okay? So yung ECL provision mo is simply your allowance, no? Minus natin yung 35,000. And then, since ang tinatanong po dito ay trade and other receivables na current, no? So hindi po natin dito tinatanong yung trade receivables or accounts receivables lang, ha. Kaya dito, yung claims against shipper for goods lost in transit in November, isasama po natin yan kasi part yun doon sa other receivables. Okay, so 830. Na pag pinagsama-sama natin ito, 825 minus 35 plus 14. How about this one? Selling price ng unsold goods sent on consignment. If you are, if you are the consignor, hindi pa nabebenta, syempre wala ka pang receivable. Yung inventory ay sa'yo pa rin yon. Okay? Nasa ibang lugar lang, nasa ahente lang para ipabenta natin. So wala pa po tayong receivables dito. So it will not affect our question number 1, kung kasama ba yan sa receivable. Okay? Ganun din po, itong sumunod. Nagbenta ka. So ikaw si seller. Pero kasi under FOB destination, sabi natin under shipping term na FOB destination, the inventory is still part of the seller while the goods are in transit. O syempre, it will not be part of your receivable. Okay? Kasi nga, ano pa yan? FOB destination. Pero kung FOB shipping point, edi may receivable ka na. Okay? Edi we may have to consider that. Okay? The 15,000, we also ignore this kasi syempre FOB destination. Pero kung FOB shipping point yan, syempre itong 15,000, actually is your freight out. That is your shipping cost, selling expense po ito. Not part of your receivable. So ignore po natin yan. Security deposit, that is usually treated as a separate asset account. Separate receivable, separate asset. Tama naman. No, usually non-current. Okay? How about this last item dito? Special order goods completed and physically segregated in the warehouse. Now, this is usually mentioned or discussed under inventories, but if we have a special order goods completed na, physically segregated, hindi pa nga lang na-deliver or hindi pa nababayaran ng customer, but the goods are considered sold when completed, kahit na nasa warehouse pa yan, it should already be sold. And correspondingly, since hindi pa nababayaran, meron tayo ditong i-recognize na receivable. So yung 180,000 ay idadagdag mo. So ang total natin ay 1,010,000. The answer for MC problem number 1 ay letter B, 1,010,000 pesos. Okay? So yan po for problem number 1. Eto na, problem number 2. Ang tinatanong sa problem number 2, what amount should be reported as accounts receivable? So dito, kung makikita po ninyo sa solution, gumawa na lang ako ng T account. Pero kung kabisado niyo naman na yan, pwede na kayo mag plus minus, plus minus. Okay, yun nga lang dito, we will have to work back yung credit sales. Kasi while yes, binigyan tayo ng AR beginning at binigyan tayo ng AR collected, ito yun, no? Yung debit credit mo. Ang kaso, hindi natin alam kung magkano yung credit sales. Pero dahil meron tayong information about your inventory, we can compute your cost of goods sold. Okay? And from there, we can work back yung ating total sales. Okay. Paano po natin nakuha itong credit sales na 10,600,000? Pakita ko po dito sa baba. Kung ang inventory purchases mo, beginning mo 4.8 plus yung purchases mo na 8 million, ang goods available for sale mo ay 12.8 billion. Eh kung meron kang hindi pa nabebenta na inventory, so i-minus natin yan, ang matitira, ang cost of goods sold mo ay 8.4. But please take note na itong cost of goods sold mo ay hindi lamang pang credit sales. Kasama na rin po dyan yung cash sales. So, yung 8.4, idagdag natin yung gross margin, no, na 4.2. So, ang total sales natin ay 12.6 million. Eh, meron kang cash sales, ibawas natin. So, yung credit sales mo ngayon ay 10.6 million. At itong 10.6 million, ito yung ilalagay natin dito, no, sa accounts receivable debit side, credit sales. Okay? So, 4 million plus 10.6, total debits mo 14.6. Eh, meron kang isang credit na 8.4, minus natin, o ending inventory ending receivable mo ay 6.2 million and that is your letter C. Okay? So, ayan po, I hope you're able to follow. Next, dito naman tayo sa question number 3. Ano naman ang tinatanong dito? What is the net realizable value ng AR? Okay, net realizable value or ito yung amortized cost. Okay? Ayala Company daw uses the net price method para sa pag-account ng cash discount. Sa isa sa mga transactions on December 26, nakapagbenta siya na yung catalog or yung list price ay 5 million. Please take note that the 5 million list price is not the amount indicated in the invoice price because we still need to deduct trade discount. Eh kung meron kang series of trade discounts na 20 and 10 and 5, pakitandaan, hindi po natin yan pinagsasama-sama na, 35% yan. No. Bawas natin yung 20% sa 5 million. Pagkatapos nun, ibawas natin yung 10% at kung ano man yung makukuha natin doon, ibawas pa natin yung 5%. Or we simply multiply 5 million times 80% times 90% times 95% para makuha natin yung 3.42 billion. Eh kung net price method or net method ang gamit natin sa pag-account ng cash discount, whether taken or not taken, bawas na kaagad natin. Eh kung meron kang credit term na 4/10 and over 30, edi meron kang 4% doon. So, yung net ng 4% ay magiging 96%. So, we will arrive at 3,283,200. Yun na po yung net of the 4% discount. Okay, ano pang gagawin natin dito? The goods were shipped FOB destination freight collect. Total freight charge paid by the customer was 100,000. Okay, FOB destination freight collect. Sa atin pa dapat yung inventory. So tayo dapat yung magbabayad ng pamasahe. Kaya nga lang, binayaran ito ng ating customer. So yung binayad ni customer na 100,000 ay kailangan nating ibawas. Okay, so ibabawas natin yon. Now, on December 27, 2024, the customer returned damaged goods originally billed at 500. Eh meron tayong sales returns. Eh yung sales returns mo, nakanet tayo, di ba? So dito tayo manggagaling sa 3,420. So pag binalik natin yan, Dahil nakanet yon, so tanggalin natin dito yung 4%. So 500,000 times 96, 480,000. So 480,000 lamang yung ibabawas natin doon, no, sa 3,283,000. Okay? So kung 3,283,200 yung kanina, net of 4% para sa lahat, tapos may bumalik, edi ang ibabalik lang natin doon ay ibabawas natin. Kasi nga, hindi na yan receivable. So, ibabawas natin yung 480,000 doon sa 3,283. Kaya, ang expected mo na receivable ay 2,803,200. Kaya nga lang, hindi pa po natin dyan nababawas yung 100,000. So, yung 2,803,200 is your net receivable, no? After considering your sales returns. Pero hindi pa na ibabawas yung in advance na bayaran ni customer. So ang total receivable mo ay 2,703,200. Okay? So that is your question number 3. Moving on po tayo. Question number 4. Ang tinatanong sa question number 4, no, we are in the impairment. How much is the impairment loss? Or ito yung ating doubtful accounts expense. Now, ang balance ng AR mo ay 1,500,000. But the 1,500,000 will be irrelevant. Ang titignan po natin is the details of your allowance for expected credit loss. Kung meron yang 45,000 debit balance bago yung year-end adjustment, ito po yun. Okay? Pero, sales during the year total 12,500,000. Ignore lang din natin yon, no? Irrelevant yung 12.5. Hindi naman natin magagamit yan. Ang importante, ito, based on the aging, 75,000 daw of the outstanding AR are estimated to be uncollectible. E di dapat yan yung should be balanced. So kung meron kang before adjustment, may debit balance ka na 45. Pero yung should be mo dapat ay credit, no? Normal balance 75,000. Ibig sabihin, no, nagkaroon ka ng 120,000 impairment loss. Okay? Kasi hindi pa na-adjust. So 120,000 na credit compare mo sa 45,000 na debit, o di meron kang 75,000 na should be ECL provision. Okay? So, yan po yung ating sagot sa question number 4. The answer is letter D. Okay. Proceed po tayo sa susunod. Dito naman sa number 5. Meron lang, karugtong sa baba. Etong number 5, ito yung application talaga ng medyo, hindi naman masalimuot, no? Medyo matrabaho lang na computation pagdating sa ECL computation. Bakit? Dito natin kino-consider yung mga loss allowances, okay, mga expected, yung mga future cash flows or expected cash flows. Now, at the beginning of 2024, nagpautang si financing company ng 1 million. And the borrower agreed to repay the loan after 6 years. So, syempre, we need to consider the time value of money. Ang interest ay 8% payable every end of the year. Every end of year. Every end of year. Every end of the year. Okay? Ayan. Starting on December 31, 2024. Based on the credit information obtained, yung probability of default for the next 12 months ay 4%. Okay? And the company expected to collect only 95% of the principal loan. Okay? So, meron ka ditong probability of default, 12 months ECL, okay, 4%. Meron tayong 3 stages, no, under IFRS 9. Okay? Kung saan we will really have to decide kung 12-month ECL or lifetime ECL tayo dito. Okay? So, wala pa naman tayong information dito na wala pa tayong mga significant increase in credit risk. So, nasa stage 1 lang tayo, no, na based tayo sa 12-month ECL. Okay. Now, magkano daw yung ECL, no? Yung impairment loss na i-recognize natin in its 2024 Statement of Comprehensive Income. Now, if the amount that we lent is 1 million and the probability of collection is 95%, so we expect that our future cash flows ay 950,000. Okay? After 6 years, no? Now, if we compute, ito po ay lump sum, one time yung payment lamang after 6 years. Hindi po ito installment. So in this case, single payment lamang po tayo. Now, pa-take note po, no, na sa pag-compute natin ng present value factor, ang gagamitin natin ay 5 years lang. Kasi after 6 years. But the computation here is by the end of 2024. So after, in December 31, 2024, may isang taon na nag-expire. So 5 years na lang yung kukumpute natin for the present value. No? So 1 point, ilang percent ito? If this is 8%, o di 5 equals, no? Divide, equals. Okay? So, eto yun. For decimal places, 0.6806. Multiply mo na ngayon, eto dito sa future cash flow. Kasi meron kang probability of uncollectability, no, probable uncollection na 5%. So, dito mo lang yan, i-multiply sa 950,000. So, that is 646,570. Now, pag kinumpare mo yan doon sa 1 million, syempre, yung ECL mo ay 353,430. But that is not the answer yet. Kasi, anong sabi dito? Yung probability of default mo, yung loss default mo, in the next 12 months is only 4%. So, while ito yung expected credit losses na na-compute ko, pero for the 12 months, multiply ko ng 4%. So, ang 12-month ECL lang natin dapat dito ay 14,137. At yung sagot po natin dito ay ito, letter A, 14,137. Hindi po yung letter C. Okay? So ano po yung ipagbabantayan po ninyo dito? Yung sa present value computation, baka magkamali and is 6 ang gawin. December 31, 2024 tayo nagko-compute. Tapos, pagdating dito, ang 12-month ECL lang. So meron kasi tayong loss default, no? Probability of default na 4%. So, compute pa po natin yan dito sa ECL, total ECL. Okay? Now, following up dito sa question number 5, what is the amortized cost daw ng receivable? Di syempre, yung 1 million ang total receivable mo, okay? Amortized cost, ibawas natin ito na 14,137. O edi yung amortized cost mo ay ito, 985,863. Okay? So, yan po for question number 6. Moving on po tayo sa question number 7. Okay, dito naman sa question number 7, ang tinatanong po dito ay market rate, what is the present value of the note on December 31, 2025? Okay. If on January 1, 2024, you sold an equipment with a carrying value of 1.5 in exchange for a non-interest-bearing note requiring 5 annual payment, okay, 500,000. Now, kung ang first payment ay ginawa January 1, 2024, unwitted due kasi January 1, 2024 tayo nag-umpisa. So careful. Ngayon, kung ang tinatanong present value ng note on December 31, 2025, edi nakabayad ka ng January 1, 2024. Ang susunod mo na bayad, December 31, 2024. Pangatlong bayad mo, December 31, 2025. So, ang tanong, magkano? Okay? 5 annual equal payment, no? So, unwitted tayo dito. Edi, kung ilan pa yung hindi nababayaran, dalawa yon, shortcut mo na, diretso na. No? Kung ang interest rate ay 12%, tapos N is 2, edi pwede mo nang gawin ordinary annuity. 1.12 divide equals 2 months 2 terms remaining, no? Divide minus 1 divided by 0.12. Okay? So yung present value factor dito na ginamit ko ay 16901 times 500,000. So ito po ang sagot natin. 845,026. Okay? So, yan po diniretso na natin. Instead na gumawa ka ng amortization table, present value ng note, edi yung hindi pa natin na babayaran. At kung magkano naman yung present value noon. Okay? So, that is question number 7. Now, question number 8. Dito po tayo sa number 8 naman. Ang tinatanong naman dito ay yung proceeds from the discounted note. So nagkaroon tayo ng discounting dito. The discounted note is without recourse. Okay. On December 31, 2023, nagbenta yung company ng equipment amounting to 100,000. Tinanggap ng company yung 10% note receivable for the entire sales price. 10% note receivable, ibig sabihin, ito po ay interest bearing. If this is payable in 2 installment of 50,000, including yung accrued interest on December 31, 2024 and December 31, 2025. Okay? Now, on July 1, 2025, diniscount ng company without recourse yung note at a bank at a discount rate of 12%. So yung tinatanong nga, di ba, magkano yung proceeds? Now, take note, no? Since installment po ito, yung December 31, 2024, nakapangolekta na po tayo ng 50,000 plus interest. So yung dinidiscount na lamang po dito, yung remaining 50,000 na expected to be collected on December 31, 2025. Okay? So in this case, anong gagawin natin? 50,000, no, yung receivable mo. Tapos kung meron itong 10% na interest, di dapat yung maturity value niyan by December 31, 2025 ay 55,000. Tama ba? 50,000 times 110% equals 55. Kung aabot ka ng December 31, 2025. Kaya nga lang, diniscount mo on July 1, 2025. 6 months yung nakalipas. So, anong gagawin mo ngayon dito? I-discount ko sa bangko. Kung ang aking maturity value ay 55,000 at ito po yung gagamitin ng bangko sa pag-compute ng kanyang bank discount. 12% yung discount rate. 55,000 times 12% times ilan pa ba yung hindi pa nagagamit? Yung anong tawag natin dito, hindi pa naglalapse na period. Ano ang tinutukoy dyan? Yung July 1 hanggang December 31. Kasi yung January 1 hanggang June 30, na-accrue mo na yun eh. Tapos na yun. So yung i-discount ni bangko ay yung hindi pa naglalapse na period. In this case, 6 over 12 lang din. 6 months over 12 months. So 55,000 times 12% times 6 over 12. Ito yung bank discount. 3,300. Ito yung ibabawas ng bangko. Kasi kung ito yung maturity value mo by December 31, pero dahil diniscount mo yan ng mas maaga-aga, 51,700 ang ibabayad sa iyo ni bangko. So ang sagot po natin, yung proceeds ay letter D, 51,700. Okay? So yan po for question number 8. Now, pagdating sa question number 9, what is the amount of interest earned daw in 2025 and the loss on sale of note discounted? Kasi dito nagkaroon po tayo ng bentahan without recourse. Okay. The correct answer dito, for the interest earned, that is only from January 1 up to June 30, kalahati. So kung 5,000 ang iyong interest for 1 year, kalahati nun ay 2,500. Pero yung loss mo is the difference between the proceeds received versus the tawag natin dito, maturity value, pero as of July 1. Ibig sabihin ko, yung principal na 50,000 plus your accrued interest na 6 months. Kung 5,000, di ba? Kalahati ng 5K, 2,500. Di, yung 51,700, compare mo ngayon doon sa 52,500. So, if 52,500 minus 51,700, okay? Ayan. 51.7 yung natanggap mo, yung ano mo, balanse mo dapat ng July 1 ay 52,500, nalugi ka ng 800 pesos. Okay? So ito po yung ating mga related journal entry. For your 2.5, no, nag-debit ka ng interest receivable, credit ka ng interest income. And then for the proceeds, naka-debit ka ng cash 51,700. Ang notes receivable mo 50 at meron ka ng interest receivable no na 2.5. O kaya naman kung hindi mo ito inentradahan, mag-credit ka na lang dito ng interest income. Okay? So meron kang loss on sale of note discounted na 800 pesos. Okay? So yan po yung answer natin sa question number 9. Last, question number 10. Ito naman. Ito pala no, pinag-usapan natin dito mga receivable financing. Number 10 is also a receivable financing factoring. Okay? So sa factoring, binibenta po natin yung ating receivable sa bangko, fina-factor mo. Okay. The company needed cash to pay for its suppliers. Meron siyang receivable. 4.5, finactor niya ito sa isang finance company. Ito yung naging agreement nila. Yung factoring fee of 8% of receivables factored. Okay, tapos meron kang withholding of 5% as protection against sales adjustment. Ito yung factors holdback. So ang tanong, magkano yung cash proceeds? E di, syempre, 4.5 million times 92% times 95%. Okay? So, bawas mo yung 8%, tapos ibawas mo rin yung 5%. Okay? So, your proceeds ay 3,933. Ito, yung loss, no? Taken to P&L, ito, receivable. And usually, yung receivable mo, no, ay, ayan. Siyempre, debit din siya, no? So, debit receivable from factor or yung factors holdback. So, ayan po, 95% of the purchase price. Ano ba yung purchase price? Ito kasi kadalasan na mistake pagdating dito sa factoring, we have to reduce. Kasi, ang face amount, yung carrying amount ng receivable mo, 4.5. Pero, yung proceed ay at 92% lamang. Bakit? Meron kang 8% na factoring fee. So, yung 4,140,000 supposedly na proceeds mo, yan yung purchase price. Yun yung bili sa iyo ng bangko. Kaya lang, meron pa siyang withhold na 5%. So, ito yung matatanggap mo. Pero matatanggap mo rin naman ito ng buo later on. Ginagawa niya nga lang itong collateral in case may mga sales adjustment pa. O para may mapanghahawakan, may mapag-a-applyan pa yung bangko. Kasi may receivable ka pa sa kanya. Okay? So that is for question number 10. All right. Now, moving on tayo sa MCQ theories. Mabilisan na lamang din po ito. Question number 1. Paano daw nire-recognize yung trade receivable? Usually, for short-term period, we recognize your receivable at the invoice amount, yung nominal amount. Undiscounted po yung mga yan. Okay? Hindi po natin kinakapitalize yung transaction cost. Usually, expense lamang yung transaction cost. Okay. Under the allowance method of recording cash discount, an entity records sales discount kapag in-offer natin yung sales discount on the date of sale. Hindi upon collection, hindi kapag nagbayad, kapag hindi nagbayad o kaya nagbayad pero beyond the discount period. So when the entity offers the discount on the date of sale, so nagki-credit tayo ng allowance, ina-account natin yung allowance for sales discount. Sales discount, debit, credit allowance for sales discount instead of crediting the receivable. Okay? Number 3, kung gross method ang ginagamit natin sa pag-record ng AR, paano yung mga sales discount taken? Pag ganyan, meron tayong deduction from the sales. Kaya nga, di ba? Meron kang credit sales, may debit ka na sales discount, contra sales account yan. Your recording of sales ay yung net in the statement of comprehensive income. So number 3, the answer is letter A. Okay? Next, number 4. Oh, correction. Mga adjustment, prior period. Nung 2022, may natanggap si company na 3-year, zero interest bearing, non-interest bearing note. Okay? The market value or the market rate ay 8%. Nung ni-record niya po ito, no, ni-record niya yung note as debit to notes receivable, credit to sales revenue for 600,000. Ano ito? Hindi niya po ito, hindi niya na-recognize dito yung ating ano, no, anong tawag natin dito? Yung discount. Okay? Yung unearned na interest income. So ano magiging effect niya? Dahil credit niya agad yon sa receivable, okay, ano daw yung effect sa profit in 2022, 2023, 2024? Dahil binenta niya yung lahat, na-overstate yung P&L mo, 2022. Dahil dapat, i-even out mo yan, i-spread mo yan sa 3 taon, understated ngayon yung 2023 at yung 2024. Pero after that, no, okay na tayo dyan, yung retained earnings mo ay walang effect. Okay? Sobra ka dito, pero dahil 3 taon yan, understated ka 20 ng second year, understated ka ng third year, nag-counterbalance na sila. Okay? So that is question number 4. Question number 5. Papaano mo daw i-describe yung total amount determined by an entity in the series of computations based in an aging schedule ng receivables? 2% ng total peso balance, 1 to 60 days, plus 5% ng peso balance, 61 to 120 days, and so on. Sabi natin, kapag aging of receivables ang gamit natin, yun po yung ating required credit balance allowance for uncollectible account. Kung naka-percentage of sales kasi tayo doon, yun po yung expense mo. Yun yung impairment loss mo or yung bad debt expense. Pero dito, based on aging tayo, yun yung required allowance. Okay, so that's question number 5. Number 6, the proceeds received from the bank would be a 120-day 6% interest-bearing note discounted at 8% na hold na for 45 days. Siyempre, yung bank discount mo is based on the remaining period, no? 120 minus 45, that is 75 days. Maturity value, kagaya ng na-compute natin kanina, less yung discount na 8% ng bank. Yung bank discount, hindi po itong 6% ha. So, letter C ang sagot natin sa number 6. Number 7, yung accounts credited daw when a note receivable is discounted with recourse. Plus, kapag with recourse ang ating discounting ng note, nagkikreate po tayo ng liability. We do not de-recognize your receivable. So, kung ano man yung proceeds na natanggap, we debit it to cash and credit liability in discounted notes. Okay? So, letter A po yung question number 7. Question number 8. Nagbenta si company. Credit na. List price 200,000. Ang term ng trade ay 10 and 5. So, 200,000, bawasan mo ng 90%, bawasan mo ng 95. That's 171,000. Okay? So, 171, tapos meron kang discount na 3% if paid within 10 days. Which of the following entries ay tama daw to record the collection of the account given the indicated method? Collection of the account. Alright. Kung gross price method daw, debit cash, credit accounts receivable. Oh, mali yun. Okay? Kung gross price method mo, debit ka ng cash, 171, and credit ka no, ng accounts receivable, 171. Okay? Assuming hindi po na-kolekta yung ating, hindi tayo nag-avail ng 3% discount. Okay. Kung net price method ka, dapat yung cash mo, eto, ang credit mo na AR mo ay 165. O kasi meron kang sales discount. So mali, no? Hindi po ito yung tamang sagot. Debit cash and credit AR. Okay? Dito, kung bakit siya mali, assuming, tawag nito, nag-avail ng discount, debit, cash, debit, sales discount, no, debit, and credit AR 171. Ito kasi nag-net price method ka. Ito yung gross price method. So, baliktad. Ito dapat yung gross, ito naman dapat yung net price method. Kaya mali sila parehas. So, now, kung nag-net price method ka, class, okay, tapos forfeited yung discount, o debit ka ng cash at the full amount, ang credit mo na AR, naka-net ka kasi, di ba? O meron kang sales discount forfeited na 5,130. And that sales discount forfeited is treated as a finance. Other operating income. Okay? Ayan. Other income. Next, yung letter D, kung gross price ka, mali ito, Kasi dapat 171. Dito kasi list price. So mali yun. Next, number 9. How should we account for the ECL? On December 31, 2024, the entity recognized 100,000 ECL. By December 31, nag-improve daw, na-decrease ng 40,000 yung ECL niya, yung allowance or yung provision. How do we account for it? Yung sagot natin, letter B, we recognize 60,000 gain sa P&L. Okay? Balikan, kung nalilito kayo sa mga ECL, isipin nyo na lang yung allowance for doubtful accounts. No? Kung halimbawa, nung nakaraan, ang ating allowance ay 100, pero ngayon, nag-improve. So, yung required allowance mo na lang 40, edi may reversal ka. Yung reversal ay taken to profit or loss. Okay? So, letter B. Last item. Which of the following would result in the recognition of a receivable under IFRS 9? Letter A, yung receivable is factored with recourse. Pag factor with recourse, hindi ka pa pwede mag-recognize. I-retain mo yan. Kasi, pabalik pa yan sa'yo. Kung hindi ka makabayad. Or hindi makakolekta yung bangko doon sa mga receivables na finactor mo. Yung pledging is the simplest form. Ginagamit lang natin as collateral. Nandoon pa rin yung receivable. Letter C, na ibenta without recourse. Pag benta without recourse, yan? Sale na yan. Sale of receivable talaga yan. So, na-transfer na yung risk and rewards doon. De-recognize mo na yung receivable. Okay, yung letter D na impair and written down, hindi pa naman natin dinede-recognize yung receivable. We, just recognize your allowance. Okay, or yung impairment loss na. Okay, so that's all for this material on FAR 2 receivables. Now, I will give you a hanging question because it reminds me. Para kasi kanina, tawag nito, nang nadaanan natin, asa na ba yun? Present value of the note. No, not this one. Ito yung amortized cost of receivable to be reported on December 31. Okay, tama ba na 985,863 yan? Kasi ito po ay 6 months, no? So, ang tinatanong ay December 31, 2024. So, meron pang 5 months tayo doon. So, diba, I think we need to consider yung ating present value on December 31, 2024. Okay? So, dating kasi dito, kung yung present value, kasi amortized cost ng receivable to be reported. Okay? Ang present value mo on December 31, 2024, ito, 646,570. Okay? Kung yan po, yung ating, tawag nito, present value on December 31, yan din yung amortized cost mo. Okay? Pero kung meron ka pang ECL, okay, yung receivable, receivable, no? So, meron ka kasi ditong parang discount, di ba? Okay. Tapos, kung meron ka ditong 12-month ECL, so dapat 646,570 minus 14,137. Okay? So, lagay ako dito, 646,570. Present value, 12/31/2024. Less 12-month ECL. Magkano yun? That is 632,433. So, I think this should be the correct answer. Oh, yun lang. Nawawala yun. Nawawala yung mga dilaw-dilaw ko. So, try ko nga ito i-copy. Lagay ko dito para maging ano yan. 632,433. Aha. 433. Bakit ayaw? Ayan. 632,433. I think this should be the appropriate answer. Okay? Amortized cost. Okay, so i-save ko lang muna ito. And that ends our session for today. Stop sharing ko lang muna. So maraming salamat. I hope nakatulong po ito sa inyong mga pag-aaral. Maraming salamat. I will now end this recording.